It's just such a cool vibe. So I'm gonna play this in the background as I work, but it looks like we got some people coming in. I'd like to start. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. Alright, so first I want to start off by explaining what we've been doing. Many of you might not have seen, but hold on. Sorry. Let's see. But what we've been doing is taking apart this Surface Pro 3. Last week I basically broke the screen off because the screen was already broken, but I didn't want to have to go to all the extent of heating up the sides and everything, and all I had really was a hair dryer. So if I was gonna use the hair dryer, I would have woke up the whole family, my wife and my kid, and I don't want to do that. So I basically broke this open. It was kind of fun. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and look at the last video. You'll see me or 2 videos ago, you'll see me have broken it apart. Anytime I work with hardware, I'm calling those episodes hardware scavenging, because the goal here is, from what I wanted to do was to get to the solid state drive that was inside of this Surface Pro 3, and we did succeed at that. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. We're done with this hardware right here. And we did successfully get to this M.2 drive. And notice the slots on it. I don't know if you've ever heard of an mSATA drive. I didn't mean to say M.2. An mSATA drive. This is a solid state drive. You know, if you guys haven't heard of solid state, you know that it's very fast storage. Not necessarily memory as in RAM, but long-term storage. And it's very quick read-write speeds. But here's the thing. The computer I have that I'm going to set up as the open source virtualization server, I want to use this as the hard drive in it, because I figured when I was wanting to do this project, I really wanted to see like what I had in the house already. I didn't want to buy a whole lot of other things. I didn't want to completely buy a new hard drive, and I wanted to do solid state. So I said, you know what, I have this Surface Pro 3 I'm not using. Let me go ahead and break that open and get it. So we did. We've got it. The next step in this, though, was last week, after we got this out of the Surface Pro 3 successfully, what I ended up realizing is that the server that I have, which I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to put on top of the table here. It's actually a pretty heavy device. There's no mSATA slot. So you see the connection point right here. There's no slots on the motherboard of this computer I'm getting ready to show you that would seat that. So what do you guys think I did? I'm going to go ahead and give you if you weren't here, I'm going to give you a few seconds to guess what I did to make it so that I can connect this mSATA drive to a traditional motherboard that does not have mSATA. Let me know what you think in the chat. Almost. So we got one guess that was pretty good. Not quite though. Let me shrink this a little bit. So Joey says SATA to USB. Nope. I didn't do SATA to USB. Anybody else got a guess of what I did? Okay, so close. I did use an adapter. I did buy an adapter for $10 on Amazon. And check this out. Very cool adapter. Comes with an enclosure and everything. Let me keep this in the frame. And that is one of these bad boys. So it looks like an SSD. It's definitely the SSD type enclosure. but it's an adapter. So this is an mSATA to SATA adapter inside of a Sabrient case. So it's going to be a very professional look. It's not like I'm just plugging it in. You'll see when I pull off the back here, let me go ahead and get it off here. Make sure I'm not breaking anything. You'll see that the adapter on the inside is an mSATA slot. So I'll connect this to the motherboard the same way you would a regular SATA drive. So there's SATA cables already inside of that server that I'm going to be able to connect to these ports. Remember, when you're looking at a drive and you're looking at a traditional SATA or regular SATA, you'll see, you know, it looks like two L's. One's a smaller one, one's a larger one. The larger one is power, so that's the SATA cable that will come from the power supply to the drive. And then the smaller L is the data, so that's where the data passes. It's read and written through that. Yes, mSATA is a newer storage type. M.2, NVMe, they're all smaller and allow for you to connect directly to the board rather than having cables first. So having the cables does slow down throughput, whereas if you can just connect right to the motherboard, you're much faster. So this mSATA should fit pretty easily right in there. So that's going to be one of our first steps here in setting up this open source virtualization server is, you know, sliding this mSATA into these slots, making sure it fits the way it needs to. I do have some screws that I need to put in here. So you see how there's screw holes right here that otherwise it's going to be hanging, and that's not what I want. So it looks like in this, with this adapter, it came with one of these little screwdrivers. I'll use this since I already have it on hand, but I do have a iFixit kit that I bought. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, layer Z error. That's funny. Yeah, good job. You learned a lesson, right? Hey, I mean, anybody who's worked with hardware, I'm not going to say anybody, but a lot of people who work with hardware and do upgrades and stuff, they've experienced a time when they've messed up their computer, whether they'd like to admit it or not. I've fried a couple laptop motherboards in my day. 2 to be total, or specific. Alright, so I'm screwing this in here. One side. Let me get the other side just to keep it consistent. Oh yeah, snuff. I still got to take that picture, by the way. I'm sorry. Friday, my son, we actually had to take him to the urgent care. He got sick. It was nothing serious. He had an ear infection, so that's why I've been delayed on that. So this is screwed in. I'm going to go ahead and put it in its enclosure and just make sure that's latched down. Yes, he is. He's much better. Now he's just as crazy as he ever was. Running around and stuff. Okay. Alright, so we are good here. I don't think I'm not going to put the screws in on the sides because it's pretty secure. Like you can see, it's not coming off or anything, you know, it's secured in there. So I'm going to take a second this is a heavy device. I'm going to scoot my laptop back and make some room right here for the computer so you guys can see the inside of what I'm talking about. And I haven't seen how much RAM I have in this server. Someone gave this to me that wasn't using it anymore. The benefits of knowing people and working in IT is that they'll help you, right? And sometimes people, one man's junk is another man's treasure, right? There we go. Let's see if I can make some room. This is Big Bertha right here. Ooh. Look at this thing. This thing is a tank. Hello. Let's see if you guys can see that okay. I may need to stand up. This is a newer one here. Alright, so this has 2 graphics cards. The RAM slots are under here. You can notice that the form factor of this Dell server is not a blade server. Now my blade server sits back there. If you notice how it's a little bit slimmer, right? So it could mount in a rack, but this is not something that you could mount it, but it's really not designed to be mounted. It's really designed to sit on the ground, stand on the ground, or like stand on a shelf. I'll be standing this on the ground underneath my desk, and I will not be having this turned on at all times. Now, let me tell you, this server, I'm gonna throw a hypervisor on this, and what a hypervisor is its operating system that allows you to run multiple operating systems on top of it. So like some of you might have heard of VMware, VMware ESXi, or VirtualBox. I'm going to be putting, or there's others, KVM. I'm going to be putting XCP-NG on this, which is something I've learned about recently. Completely open source, based on the Zen hypervisor, free, that you can install and just run. And it pretty much gives you all the functionality of VMware ESXi without the licensing costs. So I'm interested in using that for the purpose of being at some point very soon, probably in the next month, I'll have this thing ready for you guys to remotely connect to over the internet, so you can we can do some cybersecurity exercises together, some Windows administration exercises together, and all types of stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I'm particularly interested in working with XCP, because if I can figure out how to get most of the things I know how to do on VMware on XCP, then I am interested in using XCP in more business functions. So because it's free. Now, I know when it comes to open source, I'm sure you guys know effort and knowledge and skills is the trade-off of having kind of like a simplified setup. But from what I've seen, kind of the upfront research I've done, I found that this setup for XCP is just as simple. So, but that is from the videos I've seen on YouTube that have been edited. So I don't know if there were hiccups and mistakes when people were making these videos, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to do it here live with you guys. Hopefully you'll learn something as I do it. Hopefully you've learned something already. So let's begin. So the first thing I'm thinking about, we're gonna see what this thing's capable of. We're gonna see the hardware in it already. I know it has everything I need except for the hard drive, which is why I took apart the Surface. So we've got the hard drive now. This is an mSATA drive put inside of the SATA adapter. And the first place I want to, first thing I really want to look at is I want to make sure that all of the cables from the inside of this thing coming out of the power supply are connected to everywhere they need to be on the motherboard. This right here, I'm hoping is just an extra. Normally this is what powers like a CPU or something. So I'm hoping that this is just an extra and that I don't have to really dig around. I hope all the connections are already made to the board. So I'm going to look around for that and see. You can see I don't have much room on my desk for stuff like this. See, there's zip ties and stuff keeping some of this down with clean runs. So it's got the RAM. Looks like the power supply is connected to the motherboard. Okay, I should have probably got some electrical tape for this because there's really no distinctive drive bays. I mean, these are the drive bays right here and here. So we could set it in here. I mean, so I'll plug in power, which is right here, a longer cable, or the longer L. That's your power, and of course we need data, because if right now this thing would get power, but we wouldn't be able, the BIOS wouldn't be able to see it, or I'm sorry, the motherboard wouldn't be able to see it. We wouldn't be able to see it through the BIOS settings. We would not be able to do much with it. But when we connect the SATA data cable, so this is a CD drive, I don't really care about it, so I'm gonna disconnect the data there. And then we're gonna plug in the data SATA cable to this. So we've got the drive connected, and then I'm gonna go ahead and slide it in here. It doesn't seem to be blocking anything. It is kind of hanging in there. I should have got a drive bay, but we'll be fine as long as it can stay stationary. There we go. I'd like it to lay flat there. All right. Now I'm gonna flip this up here. You can see how tall it is. You can't even see me. It's funny, right? You can see that on the back here, the two graphics cards, because we can see where we're gonna plug in for display, and I'm gonna use the HDMI cable that I've got connected to my monitor here. So you'll see here that monitor that I'm using as kind of like monitoring my stream is what I'm gonna use for this. So if I don't respond to any of the chats here in a second, please forgive me because I can't see them. So I'm going to put this on the ground, and I'm going to make my power connections as well as put the side on this thing, and then I'm going to power it up, and we're going to see what's wrong, if there's anything wrong. I'm back. That thing's heavy. That's got to be like 45 pounds. You guys like Dell hardware? I mean, or Dell form factors. I'm a fan. You might wonder why. Well, because they make everything so easy to get to. Okay. There we go. All right. Probably want to stand it up. Don't want it to be sitting down. So it fits pretty cleanly under my desk. I could show you guys. See? So right now I've got you guys running on my Surface. Sorry about that light glare. So we're running on my Surface. I go through a USB-C adapter, which has an HDMI port on it. A very cool adapter, by the way. So all this happens via USB-C. I've got my keyboard connected to this adapter. I've got my mouse connected to the adapter, and then my HDMI cable gives me that secondary monitor. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink you guys, but what you'll see here now is I won't be able to see what you're seeing. I won't be able to make changes because I'm going to use this monitor right here to do what I need to do. So I'm putting you guys back up here on the adapter or on the mount, and we're going to have some fun from there. Alright, and I'm over here now, so I'm right here near the monitor. I'm going to go ahead and take one of my power cables, run it to this server down here, and then I'm going to try to power it up, and you should be able to see this go live on the screen. So we're going to see the screen go black. I'm going to move this HDMI cable to the server on the ground. We're all good to go on HDMI. Now I'm going to get my power cable from right here. Let's see, I got my power cable. I've got an Ethernet cable too for later when we need to connect this thing to the network. Because you can manage it over the network, meaning we only need the monitor for the initial setup. And part of what we're going to do in our setup is we're going to use a USB drive to create a bootable media so that we boot up and install XCP from a flash drive. Getting this twist tie off. Boom, got it. Let's do this. Alright, so one good sign there is I saw some power come on the power come on the power supply, the light. So once we get the power button on that, it should come on for us. I need to plug this up to start keeping my phone charged. Okay. All right. So once we got to move the keyboard and the mouse. So if you guys can see me, the keyboard and the mouse I need to disconnect from my hub here and move it over to the server. Alright folks, so we should be able to, if you can see that, that might be in the frame. If it is, sorry, I can't see what I can't see what you're looking at right now. So I'm getting ready to power this on. I'm hoping that we don't have to go back into the case and make any other connections, because I'm being lazy, and this is a big computer. Wouldn't be a big deal if we did, but let's go ahead and try to power it on. So I'm gonna press power on that thing. It did power on. There was a bit of a flicker, so we may be overpowering, putting too much on the outlet here. So let's see if this thing shows anything on the screen. It looks like it's coming up. I don't see anything on the monitor yet. That was just me turning the monitor on and off. No signal. That's not a good sign. Let's think about this. Before I open it up, I might just need to try some different connections like VGA. I don't think there's an HDMI on the back of this. On the actual motherboard, it's an extra card. So it might be worthwhile to plug a VGA cable into the motherboard onboard graphics card just to check. So I'm gonna check that, because that might be the graphics card might not actually have power to it. So I'll be right back. I have a VGA cable in my closet somewhere. I'm gonna try that. 1 second. found a VGA cable. None still. So you can see that the motherboard's getting power, but it's possible that the graphics card isn't. So in powering this thing up, I'm seeing all the power. I'm seeing my keyboard light up. I'm seeing the mouse light up. But nothing's getting sent to the monitor over VGA or HDMI. I didn't actually see an onboard graphics card. So this, what is it? A Dell Precision T3500 workstation. It's kind of server grade hardware for a small to medium sized business. It doesn't have an onboard graphics card. It came with, PCI enabled GPUs. So the issue here is maybe we should check and see if those graphics cards are getting power. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and power off this computer. We'll look at that together. So hold on one second. Powered it down. So I'm getting my monitors back momentarily, and I am going to plug my keyboard and mouse back in so you guys can see, and I can see what you're saying. I'd like to hear some of your suggestions too. There we go. All right, so I did knock it over a little bit. So yeah, I'm having a little bit of an issue here. What's up, Truzetto? How you doing? Good to see you. I'm trying to get this Dell Precision to work. We powered it on. We put the mSATA mSATA SSD in it. I put it inside of a SATA adapter, so it's an mSATA to SATA adapter. And now I'm trying to get the display to work. And we just tried, powered it on, and it wasn't sending a signal to the monitor. So what I think is happening is the graphics card is not powered. So I'm gonna check that. So I'm gonna go ahead and here's a hardware lesson for you. After you disconnect from power before opening it, you want to go ahead and press on the power button and let it release all the residual energy from the power supply, because one thing you do not want to do is zap the board or zap yourself. So, and yes, you still can zap a motherboard these days. So I'm not worried about cable management right now when I'm doing some hardware stuff. So, all right. I am going to pop this open, pull it up. Here. Let's get you guys out here with me. All right, so what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the graphics card, which is this one right here. It's a smaller one. And I'm seeing if it's got power running to it, which it should. It looks like it does. So I'm interested in why that wasn't working. Maybe I'll take this card out, maybe, if we don't need this. This feels like it was on. This one too. Underneath it is a clip that'll loosen it from its slot. I just want to be careful not to touch the motherboard. I don't like touching the motherboard. When you don't have a static wristband, anti-static wristband, you want to, mine's in my bag, you want to at least keep your hand on the power supply. That keeps you grounded to the board, which means you're at the same electrical potential as the board, so that when two objects that are at different electrical potentials come into contact, that's when the discharge happens, and that can destroy electronics. So also, when I'm dealing with hardware, because of course all hardware is not the same, in principle it is, but the designs and the way things sit on the board, I mean, this is pretty standard, but you get my gist. They can be a little different. So anytime I feel like I'm getting a little rough, meaning like I'm putting too much pressure on like pulling or pushing down, I kind of step back and I say, okay, what am I doing? You know, like, let me not break something. There's a clip or a screw somewhere that I need to get, you know what I mean, or I need to take out. So this, I don't think a screw is getting in my way. It's just an awkward thing to loosen up. I probably have to remove each separately before I can get to it. That's another rule of thumb with hardware is if it's connected, and the system's not working for whatever reason, you disconnect peripherals, you disconnect certain components one by one, try to power it on, and see. That's usually a good way to troubleshoot hardware. Takes a long time, but it's a good way to troubleshoot. Let's get some music playing. The quietness is weird. Okay. I want this to work. I really hope it's not like a messed up, like it's broken. Usually this person that gave this to me normally doesn't give me stuff that's broken. I'm missing something. Yeah, there's a screw. Sure enough. Let me go ahead and yeah, that's what it was. There's a screw right behind it, holding it down. I have the toolkit in my bag right here. Now we gotta find the right bit. I'm gonna guess. So, let's see. It's probably this one, honestly. Check. Hey, first guess. That should come up now. What am I missing? must unscrew this other part too. A tight fit in there. It feels loose, so I'm getting it out. Huzzah! The graphic gods. To the graphic gods. Alright. It's a little older. This right here will not run Cyberpunk 2077. No. Alright, so with that, I am wondering if we'll boot now, and it'll boot successfully and it'll allow us to see what's on the screen. So I'm gonna set this thing right here. Just do a double check and see if everything is where it needs to be. Right. Alright, slap the hood of that bad boy. We're going to try to power it back on. So I'm going to face you guys this way towards my monitor again. You should now that we did that, that was one step to try. Oh, this came off the table. I put this on a mount. Forgive me, I'm working on my setup. This is a adjustable mount for my phone, and it just kind of slid off the table here. I like adjustable things, but as I've gotten to use this, it's got this like weird bendy mechanism. Like it's flexible, but it's also not, because you have to like you know, you gotta be a muscle man, you know. I'm not a muscle man. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and plug this back up, and I'm hoping that this does it for us. So, going around the backside, you'll probably see my head poke over. I'll still try to keep talking. I'm gonna move the HDMI cable back, and then I am going to plug the peripherals back in too. So, and we might just, you know, use keyboard. I'm gonna try both keyboard and mouse. So I'll see you guys here in a second. Alright. Oh, sorry about that. Duplicating. When I disconnected my monitor, that's where I kept Streamlabs, the control panel. So it had to find its way to a monitor, right? So when the operating system, Windows 10, lost connection with the monitor, it had to load all the apps onto my laptop's monitor display, and so that's why you saw that. But I'm getting ready to power this up, but there's one thing I did notice, and I'd like to hear you guys' input or read it. But you see this small desktop power strip I've got right there? I don't know if you guys can see that or not. That might not actually provide enough power, so I'm thinking that could actually be a reason. Maybe this will work for us, so let's try it. It sounds like it's booting. Yeah, I don't, oh, there we go. Okay, so it was that other graphics card, but still it might actually be a power issue. If you know what I mean, like I disconnected this graphics card, and this graphics card might not actually be bad. It might actually be the fact that it couldn't power both because it's not drawing enough power. But I'm glad that it's giving me the option to do stuff. So what I'm getting this error message, which it says drive 0 not found, serial ATA SATA 0. I'm pretty sure I got all the SATA connections right. So it didn't find any drives. Let's try F2. Still might be another power issue. I mean, if it can boot up to that point, it should be able to power an mSATA drive. So I'm going to F2 and see what that's all about. So I'm going through here, I'm looking at drives. It looks like it is detecting my drive. I wonder. See, it is detecting it. You see how it says Samsung right there. You see the very top option, the Samsung MZMTE 128. That's my drive. So the motherboard's detecting it. But I mean, I still gotta try to put the drive on here. So this does support virtualization, which is what we need for those of you that are tuned in a little bit late and don't know what's going on. I want to set up XCP. It's an open source hypervisor. It's a type 1 hypervisor, so that means it is the base operating system from which all the other operating systems will run on top of. So what I'm looking at doing is, flash drive is somewhere around here. Let me find it. I have a flash drive here, I promise, here it is, that I'm going to be putting XCP on. And let's pull XCP up. Let me use my laptop here. So I'll pull XCP-NG up, and it's a Zen server based, community powered, so it is based on Zen. So we're gonna download that. I do not want to exit the BIOS. So we can use Rufus to make it bootable. So I'm gonna go ahead and download this. This shouldn't take too long. It's only 575 megabytes. So XCP, I've heard a lot of great things about this. The whole project's hosted on GitHub, and I'm interested because the videos that I've seen and the research that I've done, it seems like it has all the functionality that VMware ESXi has, with the exception of live VM migrations, which means I can't have a VM running and migrate it in XCP at the same time, which is, I've never personally been in the situation where I had to do that, but I could understand on a very high, an infrastructure that needs high availability, meaning really no downtime. That could be great. In most of the environments I've been in, it's beneficial to use just turn off the VM and migrate it with it off, right? So I don't know. I've never done it, but I don't know. I also don't know the value of it. I can see the value, but I've never actually experienced doing a live migration. So our download finished. I'm gonna. Okay, it's already an ISO. I thought it said 7Z. I thought it was a zip file. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to use Rufus to make a bootable drive. And I'm going to plug this in. 4 gigs should be plenty. I keep wanting to use my mouse, but that's connected to the Dell Precision. Alright. So we get Rufus going. I don't believe I have Rufus installed, but we'll see. If you guys don't know what Rufus is, it is a utility that allows you to format your flash drive to actually become a bootable drive, meaning you could put an operating system on it. A matter of fact, you could put multiple operating systems on it. Yep, so here's the flash drive. I had an ESXi installer on it. I'm cool wiping over that. So you pick the image that you're going to install, let it auto select everything. Rufus has actually been pretty good in my experience at picking all the right settings, like the file systems used for the operating system. I haven't had many issues. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. It's basically saying you're going to overwrite your flash drive. Bam. Yep, all data is going to get destroyed. I'm cool with that. I wasn't storing anything special on that. Oh wait, my whole life. No, I'm kidding. Now, I'll tell you this. If I wipe this, I would have wiped Grand Theft Auto 5, Civilization 6, some other data that's very important. So this is the one. This is the one I don't want to wipe. And by the way, this is an external solid state drive. So for those of you that didn't know, you can get a solid state drive that's like a flash drive. I mean, a high speed. Because I mean, if you think about it, a flash drive's already kind of like solid state. It's not like there's a spinning disk inside your flash drive, but it's lower speed. It's not typically NAND memory, which we can talk about that another time, but it's faster memory chips inside of it in cells to store the data and to retrieve it. And it's, you know, there's limitations to my knowledge in terms of storage and how storage media works, but I do know that this type of solid state drive is much faster than a typical flash drive. So this comes with kind of like an adapter because it is USB-C. I primarily use this, I think it's a type A connector, a USB-A connector or something like that. It's still 3.0, so it's got decent speeds. You know, it'd be nice to go directly USB-C, but I have my adapter here that I use that for. So we're gonna let this go ahead and finish. I hope everything's good with y'all. I'd like to check the chat, but I don't have a way to do that right now without you seeing multiple me's in the background. So I'm gonna just imagine that you guys are having a good time right now. I hope you're learning something, and I hope you're having a good time. Where's my screwdriver? Okay, so I want to keep track of these bits. This wasn't a cheap kit. This was like a $70 kit, but it's been worth it. It really has. I've enjoyed it. So I don't think I'll need that anymore. That's interesting, right? Though I think now that I took that apart and thought about that, I really think it's a power thing. So power as in, like, you know, it wasn't receiving enough power to boot and power both graphics cards. So I took one graphics card out and that worked. So I'm gonna need to find a better place to plug this in. Once this is installed, as long as it's connected to the network, I'll be good. So I should be able to plug into another wall outlet over here directly into the wall. But this is kind of a weird. This room is oriented not for a lab. This is a bedroom that I turned into a lab. Okay, so Rufus has formatted the drive. I'm going to go ahead and open up this here. And it looks like it did all the things it needed to do. The best way to test this is see if we can boot off of it. The biggest thing I'm worried about is, so I'm going to eject this. The biggest thing I'm worried about, guys, is when I plug this in, I'm not worried about it loading up the XCP installer. I'm worried about that initial error message we got about it not finding my drive, because when we look here on the, if you can still see, let me try to get the whole monitor in view. It's detecting the drive. So when I go up to drives, like we saw earlier, interesting. So SATA, when we went to, I think it was general or settings, where were we when we looked at that? Yeah, boot sequence. It found the drive. That's the drive. But maybe you just needed a reboot to load the drivers and stuff after that initial. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in, and we're gonna do a Control-Alt-Delete and try to boot off the flash drive. One thing that's good to check as like a rule of thumb is to go into the BIOS settings and see if USB booting is enabled. It is a good security precaution in, like, if you have a network environment that you administer, to disable that on the desktops so that just a typical average Joe couldn't come in after watching a YouTube video and boot off of Linux and blow away your whole system. Of course, to protect against that, I personally would recommend setting a BIOS password. So you can go down and set a password to get into the BIOS so that people can't just get in like I did. You set a password and they can't get in unless they know. So the only way they would get around that is if they took the system out, opened it up, and there's ways. You can reset the BIOS. It's a little different on depending on the manufacturer of the device, but you can always look that up. But that's much more awkward for someone to come in there, pull out the computer, and security is all about making things challenging and harder and harder to do. So you really need to know what you're doing to be able to do that. And at that point, you've made it hard enough for them to say, okay, I'm not trying it here. All right. So we're rebooting. Once it comes up, Dell motherboards are typically F12 to go on the boot settings. Yeah. USB drive. So I'm excited to see that. That's good. So USB. There we go. We got XCP. I'm gonna hit F1 or hit enter. So this is the XCP screen here. I'm hoping you guys can see this. Just double checking. Cool. Yeah, Truzetto, I just saw your comment. I figured it's running now, but I am gonna have to find a better place to plug this in. So we're installing. Let's pull up XCP. Very, very interested in using this. Trying to make sure you guys don't have like a obscured view. You see this Zen Orchestra. So I'll be installing this right here on my you may not be able to see that. Hold on one second. Yeah, you probably can't see that. One second. Let me hide the phone. this is a challenging process with one monitor right now. Alright, so you can see my screen. I'm on XCP, the site. For me to interact with the hypervisor after it's installed and be able to add VMs and manage VMs. Oh, it says live migration. Sorry, I just noticed that. Squirrel. But modern web UI, meaning, you know, when this thing's running, I can use the Zen Orchestra to manage everything, which is going to be, I'm excited. I'm very excited about this. Okay, so yeah, and it looks like there's some support frameworks. You know, Twitter is a platform we can go to, GitHub if there's issues. So I'm interested in using this. This is gonna be fun. It already is fun. I hope you guys are having fun too. So let me go ahead and show the screen again. There we go. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and click through this install. This is your traditional install. This setup tool can be used to install or upgrade, blah blah blah, erase all disks, stuff, blah blah blah. Yes, go ahead. The programs included with XCP-NG system are free software. To know more about the licenses and all the program, please read each copying file. Awesome. No warranty. I'm not worried about a warranty. Maybe this stuff would matter a lot more to me if I was doing this in a production environment. I do know, I will say this, guys. I recommend, there's a channel on YouTube called Lawrence Systems. This guy named Tom Lawrence. He's really a leader in the managed service provider space. And he says that he uses this as his primary hypervisor. So he's a business owner, he's a technologist that goes out there and installs these in business environments. And he's a very respected name in the industry. So, you know, this has some validity to it. You know, he watching his channel really is what made me think about this in a different way. I know we had conversations before. I had already been thinking about using things outside of VMware ESXi and just practicing with them. But today, you know, this might be kind of a turning point for me. I might try to do a project where I migrate all my VMs off my VMware ESXi server. Okay, cool. So it did pick up the hard drive. No need to be worried about that. I'm not going to install it to the flash drive. I'm going to be installing to this hard drive, and it looked like it already picked that up for me, which I'm very happy about. Just making sure anytime you're going through any of these installs, you definitely want to make sure your settings are all right. Let's see. Alright, so we're going to use LVM. We're doing local media. Verify installation source. Nah. So I'm going to set my password, which you guys can't know about. I'm sorry. How funny would it be if you could see what I was typing? Okay, let's get... Normally you would want to set a static. I still haven't got my Ubiquity Dream Machine, which is this really cool appliance. Go check that out. But I'm gonna be dividing my network up into separate VLANs at some point. I'm gonna scale it out, make it more like a business environment. Right now it's pretty flat, meaning it's like everything connects to my router. So I'll be working on building that out more and more as I'm focusing in on building my lab. So for now, I'm gonna keep this on DHCP, but in the future I will set this to static on my network. So we'll hit OK. Manually, let's give it a host name. I'm gonna call it LTN-OpenV. like open hypervisor. We can let DHCP handle DNS. Normally with servers, you want to set them static because there's going to be so many devices relying on them. So in an enterprise environment, I would be very particular about this. But since it's mine, So we're looking for my time zone. Saw Aruba, Jamaica. Godfab. Never heard of them. Phoenix. Oh, so it's doing it by city. I'm like, what is all this? I'm looking for Eastern. I'm like, what in the world? Chicago. I'd be on New York. There we go. How should the load? NTP, duh. Network time protocol. Alright, install that thing. Alright, so we got the install going. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't think it's installing a GUI, so probably not that long, because from our Windows computer or our Windows system that I'm on right now, or if I was on Ubuntu, I'm sure they got a client for that. I believe I'd be installing the web client here. Yeah. So it's installing it now. Can you guys see that fine? Yeah. Let's follow their directions. I always like to follow directions, even though for the most part I know what I'm doing. Yeah, see Lawrence Technology Systems. He's a big promoter of this platform. Proxmox was another one you guys recommended. I might use this particular system to, play around with different hypervisors. I might not. I just want to live with the hypervisors for a little bit. I want to say, okay, how's this? How is this? Is this okay? Is this good? Alright, install. Install is not complicated. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to boot after it's done. Okay. Picking up. I mean, we see if this counter is accurate. I mean, it's not like it's brand new and that no one uses it. Okay, so they sent me an email. Would you like to install any supplemental packs? Sure. Wait, I don't have them. Nah. Sorry, I changed my mind. Okay, so I got an email, but because I'm using my my iPhone as the camera, I'm gonna go ahead and black out my display and log into my email. Oh yeah, sorry, I was reading the chat. Truzetto, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I haven't actually looked at the hardware. We need to do that. we need to. So once we've got XCP, let's look at the hardware on this server from the lens of XCP. So we'll see all the details. A company I used to work for, they gave this to me because they weren't using it anymore. But it, I'm going to make great use of it. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to display capture. You're going to see the background go black momentarily just because I'm logging in to my email. I use Proton Mail. I'm not afraid to give away that information. I recommend Proton Mail. Great service. They pride themselves on the privacy and the encryption of the inboxes. Yes, you do have to pay for it. Unlike Gmail, the reason those are free is because you are giving them permission to really harvest your data of what's happening in your email and then market to you. Okay, so I'm activating. It's asking me to create an account password right now. Okay, so I'm downloading Zen Orchestra. So it looks like right now I can show you guys my screen again. There we go. Okay, looks like XCP is done installing. Let's go ahead and let that bad boy reboot. Okay, so downloading Zen Orchestra. It is in the process of downloading. You might see some glitches or some stuttering. There we go, at F1. Booting off XCP-NG. It's loading. There we go. I like that logo. It's like a rocket lifting off. I was watching one video where they said there was an error that they got when they first booted up, that they always got the error, but it never resulted in them being able to use it. So the error on the screen right now says ACPI invalid PSD data. Not exactly sure what that means. I'd have to look that up. But based on what I've read about or watched on YouTube and the setup, I've seen that supposedly that's not an issue, but right now to me this looks like an issue because it's not loading. So I guess we'll see. And I'm hitting enter, nothing's happening. I'm typing, nothing's happening. I have no reason to believe anything is loading right now or loaded. Although it does seem as though something got loaded onto the drive, right? I mean, when I booted, it had XCP there, so something got installed. Oh, you know what I still need to do, people? There we go. It loaded up. So I was just being... I need to be more patient. Oh, what I need to do, people, is I need to run a cable to my my router, or to the switch on my router from the computer. Because guess what? In order to get an IP address from DHCP, you got to have network connections. So I'm going to go do that right now. Sorry guys, I had to find a longer cable. I found one. All right, did you see it just get an IP address? Right as I connected, it got an IP. So this looks a lot like ESXi. It's just got kind of a sleeker red and black and gray look. But it definitely reminds me in many ways of VMware. Now, when you've got VMware, it's like yellow. That's their signature look. And it's like a gray, an off gray. But it kind of looks similar to this. So we've got our network management settings. That's where we could go back in to set the static. Management interfaces, though, that's like if I wanted, and this is the ideal scenario, that you have a dedicated network from which you connect to the hypervisor. And then all your VMs operate on like a production network. Authentication. I'm sure I could set users. Let's see. Would it be root? I didn't see. Yeah, it's you. Okay, good. So I needed to know the username. So when I connect to this thing from the Zen Orchestra GUI, I'm gonna need a password. So IP address, remember that for me. There's a lot going on. So .34 is what it's getting right now. I'll set a static later when I get my UDM. So 34. What else do I need to do from here? This is usually not where you like add VMs and stuff. Yeah, this is all monitoring, back-end stuff, hardware. Here you go, Truzetto. Here's some information right here. Processor. We can scale up, But you know, it's not something to be all, you know, excited about. 8-core CPU. Hey, 18 gigs of RAM. That's not bad. That's more RAM than my ESXi server, but nowhere near as many cores. CPU cores as my my PowerEdge. Okay, cool. Backup, restore, update, remote service, SSH, of course, local command shell. Awesome. So this thing's running. Now that this thing is running, I am actually good to connect my PC back in so I can have you guys up and I can chat and I can see what you're saying, because I'm going to connect my monitor back to my Surface, and then I am going to see how this Zen Orchestra works, and we'll focus on getting that set up and maybe even trying to get a VM working. I think we've been making some pretty good progress tonight. So let me go ahead and make those connections. Let's get some more music going. All right, so I'm good to go here. My cable management right here is terrible. I'm gonna take this camera off because we don't really need to look at the camera anymore. This app that I use, actually pretty cool. It's called, I forgot what it's called, IV Cam, and you saw the watermark. I'm able to use it for free because of that, and it actually connects to server software on my computer over the network. So pretty cool stuff. You might have actually lost connection to it because I disconnected the data cable from my access point and switched it over to the server because the wireless access point had the longer cable and it's closer to the router, so I just used that white cable you saw earlier for that. All right. Yeah, what's up, keyboard? Good to see you. So, thank you for the compliment. You're gonna even like what I'm doing more on the technical side. The studio setup stuff, yeah, I've done a whole lot more with that. But from a technical perspective, today we're adding, we're working with an open source type 1 hypervisor, meaning it's the operating system. It's not VMware. It's called XCP-NG. You know Rob and the guys over there at SkillStack on RWX Rob's channel would really like this, because you could actually do everything from command line. You could do that in VMware too, but VMware ESXi does cost money to a certain point. XCP does not. So where were we at? I think 10.384 or 10.388.34 was the IP address of the hypervisor. How do I use it then? I'm just gonna try this. So maybe it already has. Okay, it already has it running. There we go. Drawing like a diagram? Yeah, use it's called draw.io. There you go. I love that tool. It just has a really beautiful look to it. So go to draw.io to do anything for drawing. So again, just like VMware ESXi, you just go to the IP address and it has a web client. So there's XCP-NG Center. It's a graphical Windows-based user interface for XCP-NG, downloaded by using this button. XO comes in a virtual appliance covering all management, backup, and cloud features you may need in your infrastructure directly from your web browser. I'm always a fan of things if it's just a web browser. I don't know why. I'm not understanding their terminology. XOA is Zen Orchestration Appliance. But when I click Quick Deploy, am I connecting to... Should be... Oh, okay. I need to read. It says leave everything empty to use DHCP. Provide all the information otherwise. Okay. It was already empty. I was just being over rambunctious. Register your XOA. Create an admin account. So maybe on their website you register your machine, and then you can create an admin account. So this is where I would create you guys accounts when we do our setup, where you can remote into the hypervisor and you can work with it. Okay. I'm just gonna try it. I think I already created one, maybe? So that's just kind of like a quick setup guide to do everything from the browser. Let's see. Do 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 dum 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 dum. Almost there. It's like Windows 10. It's got to tell you every step of the way. It's like, all right, we are just making sure our ads are getting delivered to you in the most beautiful way. Oh, wait. We're just making sure we have all the access we would ever need in the background. Ah, here we are. Very zen, very modern look, right? It makes you want to log in. Like, I'm like, ooh, experience, data, Bitcoin, blockchain. Okay, I could root or I could Robert. Let's root. Let's do what you're not supposed to do. Okay, so that's my admin account I created. Here we go. Not registered. It's all good. Okay, here is our... Okay, so this is like, if Truzetto, if you're still there, this is like vCenter with VMware, where it's like, it would manage many of your appliances. That makes sense then. An orchestra of hypervisors. So Zen Orchestra is an orchestra of hypervisors. So the virtual appliance is the device that is the hypervisor. So I've only got one here, and Zen Orchestra is my, yeah, it's the Hive. So let's poke through the interface a little bit. Upgrade. Yeah, of course you can't get everything for free. They gotta have some version. So our data visualization stuff looks like it's, you gotta pay for that, or you gotta log in at least. I'm gonna register. I didn't notice that it did, Truzetto. Yeah, I don't think it did. I'm gonna try it. Let's try it. I mean, we might as well, right? So start for trial. During your trial period, X-Ray need to be working internet connection. This limitation does not apply, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it does have an internet connection. So we're good till July 12th. We'd have to run that. I'm not going to do that right now. So a lot of stuff you need the enterprise version for. Oh, so it connects to a marketplace. That's interesting. Where I could just download a VM. Kubernetes cluster right here on top of it. I think if you guys know Rob, RWX Rob, I think Rob would like this. Yeah, probably. You're right, Chuzetto. Okay, so if we're going to add a VM, new VM, Windows 10. I mean, of course you got to support Windows. And then you pick the image. How do you... guest tools? I guess kind of like VMware tools. Sweet. That'd be awesome, Truzetto. Where does it pull the image from? Because normally you can just upload it right through the browser, you know what I mean? The ISO. But if it's Ubuntu, maybe does it pull it from the internet? I think it might have just pulled that one from the internet. No Zen tools detected. Well, it looks like it's actually running. So it must have just pulled it down from the repo. But if I wanted to upload my own image, that's what I'm curious about. There's got to be a way to connect this to some storage. It's nice though. I mean, it looks good. It's got a sleek interface. I don't mind VMware's either though. Here we go. Well, that's my XOA. Where's my... It's kind of... I'm just getting used to moving around. Where did that Ubuntu VM go? I'm like in a maze. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade it. Ah, see. That's where they get you. It's not free. I mean, there's a free version, but I'm sure you get some limitations. I'm curious about what just happened to that Ubuntu system I was trying to set up. I must have missed like can't think of it, an update or something, or an error message. I'm gonna go ahead and let it upgrade. So this is cool. Always exciting to work with the newer technology. I always find it fun, you know, to play around with it and get used to it and try it and break it and all types of different stuff. So I'm looking forward to working with it more. I'm gonna let this thing upgrade. I'm still of course, I'm first time using it really, but I really want to see the definitive advantage you would have in using this over a VMware. You know, I was thinking about that the other day when it comes to technology and business, and you know how for the most part we're consumers of it, and how it's almost like we've been conditioned to just expect things for free. And I wonder if that's a regret or a good thing. I don't know. I mean, we got these tech companies that are some of the richest organizations in the world now, but you know, have we just gotten to the point where we just kind of expect it to be free? Because for the most part, we get some functionality for free, and then we expect the whole thing to be free. It's harder to start selling something to somebody when it's free in the first place. Like for me, like I know it's a funny subject, but like when Fortnite first came out, I did play, and like I've never spent one dime on Fortnite. And to be honest, I've never had an issue paying for games. Like I'm the last person to pirate a game. So I'm not the one that's going to be taking games like that. So it's like, it was funny, like me in my mind, I'm like, why would I ever pay for Fortnite? It was just because I was so used to it being something I could enjoy without having to pay for it financially. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wonder if we just, if they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one. We're gonna have to research how you get a VM on this thing, or an ISO, because I guess I could put an ISO on the flash drive. But in a business environment, you wouldn't want to do that all the time. You'd probably set up a share or something on the network. Yeah, it's true. But like free of financial cost, I'm just saying as a consumer, we've kind of grown to just expect some of it to be free at least. So did companies? I guess they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, because they're some of the most rich companies out there now, of all time. You know, it's like of all time. I'm gonna have to do some additional configuring on this one. Because here's the virtual machine template. But now is when you would get... You would need to get the ISO. So I wonder if we could just grab it from the hub. Let's just do this. Install. Yeah. So it's going to download it probably, unless it already had it on there. I mean, it's still hard to compete with VMware. Plus, right now, they're so established that the support for it is just there. For me, even in a home lab scenario, like, I've got just about everything I need running on VMware, and I didn't pay for it. One, because I am part of a VMware Academy, where I can have licenses, but also VMware has a free edition, ESXi Community Edition. But again, I really am not experienced enough with Zen and with XCP to be able to say, you know, this is better than this for this reason. So I'll be able to tell in the future as we work more and more with this whether or not this is better or worse or on par. So I'm gonna let that run, and then I'm probably gonna jump off here. It's getting pretty late. Next time I stream will probably be next week. I've been doing Friday and Saturday. I have not been streaming as often, meaning, you know, I've been taking a day here and there. It is kind of hitting summertime, so I'm easing off a little bit, and I have been gearing up to study. I did get my OSCP materials, so I'm looking at moving forward on that and, you know, studying for that and passing that. So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm in the early stages of that. I can't share a whole lot because, you know, I don't want to put the integrity of the test in jeopardy. So I'm not going to talk too much about what I've seen so far, but I am excited about that. So I gotta say, thank you guys for coming by. Oh wait, actually, here we go. It installed, so maybe we'll be able to look at it together. Here we go. It already has. This is kind of like, the interface kind of reminds me of AWS, where if you got a template, you just set it there, and then it's already got the settings, it's already got the ISO it downloaded. Ah, cool. I wonder if they use Zen on the back end, like what really powers AWS. But the template approach is really fascinating because it's like, you got a hub, you don't have to upload your own ISOs, and, you know, for your initial setup. So you just create, everything's easy. IT's getting easier. Like when it comes to, you know, no Zen tools. I'm getting that same error message. I wonder why. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to, well, did I get it? Is it loading? Looks like it did. Yeah, it is loading. Okay. So we did get it installed. We just don't have the Zen tools. So we gotta, there we go, we got a shell. It's loading up. Yeah. I think it installed CentOS. I mean CentOS with like the GUI. I don't have much experience with CentOS. I know it's Red Hat. Red Hat's behind it, right? Yeah, it's CentOS Core. So it's running. I skipped right over the credentials that it created. Excuse me. Yep, let's shut that VM down. Let me try another one just to practice a little bit. pfSense is a firewall. I'll need more storage for this too. Wow, there's so much to it. So there you have it. The initial setup of XCP-NG, which is an open sourced, and as far as I can tell, in the feature set that I have right now, free hypervisor. Keep in mind that there is a VMware ESXi Community Edition that's free that you can get access to by going to the site. But it's always fun to get used to different platforms and see what's out there. Zen is one of those hypervisors and virtualization technologies that I just really haven't used before, and I'm glad I got to use it today. Thank you for watching and being a part of it. I'm gonna sign off for now, but next week I am looking forward to doing more. Hoping to get my network set up by next week, maybe the unified Dream Machine a Ubiquity Dream Machine set up on the network. But for the most part, I think we're going to continue building the virtualization server that will allow you all to remote into my network and get on VMs and interact with each other, whether we're doing cybersecurity things or capture the flag challenges or just learning different technologies. I'm a big fan of learning Windows just because it's a skill set that's needed and it's an operating system that's out there. So as we get this established and this remote access established, we will then move on to working together on inside of the VMs on this network. I want to explore that, and I also want to do more with cloud. I'm working on ways to make this Twitch stream more and more interactive. I love to chat with you guys, but I think it would be really fun to interact on systems together, right? So I think that'd be fun. But until then, I will see you guys next week. I'll most likely be on Friday. If not Friday, I'll be on Saturday. Please join the Discord. I also have a YouTube channel, which I'm actively working on content. Come July 1, you're going to see a whole lot more controlled and rehearsed content come out on YouTube. I do chop up some of these Twitch videos and put highlights up there, but for the most part on YouTube, I am working on a course. One of those courses is going to be an entire CCNA class. Now, it's not going to be just a CCNA. It's going to be really focused on getting people passionate about IT and networking and cybersecurity, of course. But I do want to align it with the CCNA objectives, just so you can go through that video series and be kind of in a good place to take that CCNA. So with all that, again, it's great that y'all came out. Have a wonderful evening. And the last thing we're going to do is raid. Does anybody have somebody they would recommend raiding right now? I'll wait on that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and shut this hypervisor down. Where do I go for that? Let's see. See if I can power this machine down. All right, let's go out here. Rob is not on. Anybody have any recommendations here? This guy's fun. All right, we're raiding Strager.